we got to take these guys seriously, or we're going to their house. And we gonna find out like we say. So, I mean, we can't take them lightly for sure.
I would say that covers it from Oklahoma safety Peyton Bowen. That's the attitude for the Sooners going up to Philly this week to take on Temple. Yes, it's a game the Sooners should win handily, Brandon Drum, but it's still a game that they will take seriously because if nothing else, they have got to maintain the intensity that they brought to the table last Saturday against Michigan. When you look at the remainder of this schedule for Oklahoma, 8 ranked matchups, count them 8. Every single team Oklahoma will play on their SEC schedule is currently in the AP top 25. So they can't afford to take the foot off the gas even for a single weekend, and they won't this weekend against the Owls.
Yeah, this is a kind of how focused is your team type game. Are they for this? To me, this is where you find out if your team really has the salt, because everybody can get up for Michigan, they can get up for Auburn and Jackson Arnold coming back, they can get up for Texas. Can they get up for Temple? I think that's going to be. I did not say Kent State because Kent State's the worst football team in all of college football, so I'm leaving that out.
That's not far from the truth. If it
but
isn't,
yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, but so like, and Temple's laid 100 points on their first 2 opponents. I think people need to understand that. OU fans, 100 points on their first 2 opponents, meaning they're not the Temple from last year that Oklahoma smoked 73-0. Like, that's just not. Was that what the score was? I don't remember. Was that the score?
It was 51-3.
51-3. Yeah, whatever. 73-0. I think was a year before, 2 years before, something to that extent. But, yeah, they're not that team. Now, I don't think we're saying they're like a world beater. However, this season is starting to play out a lot like 2007. And you're going to F around and find out if you show up to Lincoln Financial thinking this thing's in the bag no matter what. I think that's actually the good thing, Parker, that they're playing at the Eagles Stadium, because that was a topic of conversation with every player. Like, first road game, and they all went, dude, we're playing in the Eagles Stadium. This is going to be amazing. I'm so excited for that. That may be the saving grace for Brent Venables and the staff, the fact that they're playing in a place, in a venue of the Super Bowl champs, and with the skyline of Philadelphia in the backdrop and all that type of stuff. Like, it's a picturesque scene. You just hope that there's people in the stands to kind of build up this. And I would assume that there's going to be a large amount of East Coast Sooners showing up from DC, Baltimore, New York City, Philadelphia, Boston. I would imagine they're all going to collide down on Philadelphia this weekend.
You'd hope there's going to be some good solid OU representation. No doubt about it. Oklahoma is favored by 24.5 points in this football game. I ask you, Brandon, who do you want to see a lot of in this football game? If you could pick your star of the weekend for Oklahoma, who do you want it to be in an ideal world?
Oh, that's a good Elijah Thomas on offense, Jaden Ott on offense, and then on defense. I mean, theoretically, you want your defensive line to eat. I would love to see a Trent Wilson get in there and eat a little bit, freshman defensive tackle. I would love to see Jacoby Johnson start to play. I know he's been banged up and all that, but like, maybe he's going to be able to play this week. I don't know. But Cortland Guillory continue to, stack games would be really, really cool. And then I'm trying to think of another freshman just off that man, Amarian Robinson would be really cool to see him eat. And obviously Michael Boganowski get a lot of playing time. And you would assume all those guys that I just named are probably going to get significant amounts of playing time if Oklahoma doesn't F around and find out.
I think this weekend has to be the Jade Knott show, right? Because
Yes.
if it isn't, some folks are already squirming about the whole Jade Knott situation. Oh, did Oklahoma massively overpay for a guy who isn't actually all that good?
No, they
Now,
put the ball in the hands of Mateer.
if you're gonna silence that noise at a certain point, we got to see the Jade Knott breakout performance. And
You do.
so, if that doesn't happen against Temple, do you have that much confidence that it's going to happen against Auburn? And then if it doesn't happen against Kent State, do you have that much confidence that it's going to happen against Texas? It feels like Jaden Ott has to have that productive explosion at some point soon, or else the talk and the discourse surrounding his Oklahoma career, his 1 year Oklahoma career, is going to start to become very toxic at a certain point.
I would agree with that. I think it's it's a shorter version of Rodney Anderson. If people need to go back and remember Rodney Anderson's career, he was injured quite a bit to start his career 2015, 2016, and then a little bit to start 2017. He missed quite a bit of fall camp to start 2017. He didn't get going until the Texas game of 2017. Jay Knott missed almost all of fall camp, if not all of fall camp, outside of like 2 practices, 3 practices. So and that's probably hyperbole. He probably missed all but a week. But my point is that 3 weeks of fall camp, you missed the vast majority of it, if not all of it. And now you're trying to get your feet underneath you, your timing with the line, your understanding of how this line works. As they build cohesiveness, you're trying to build off their cohesiveness in the backfield. And it's been a bumpy start, but at the same time, OU really hasn't given him that much of a chance. They held him out versus, I just went blank at who they played game 1, but, oh my God.
Illinois State.
Illinois State. I went blank on Illinois State. Illinois State, you gave him, 4 or 5 carries against Michigan? Again, a lot like what we saw last year. At some point, DeMarco Murray is going to have to let somebody just get in a rhythm. Just get in a rhythm as a running back. And that's part of it as well, the rhythm. The rotations are probably going to have to be slimmed up a little bit at running back. And there's a lot of things that probably going to have to work in Jaden Knott's favor for him to really get going. And I would assume they're going to do that because, again, back to Rodney Anderson – that Texas game, they were struggling running the ball leading up to that. Remember in 2017, what's wrong with the run game? What's wrong with the run game? And then, bam, Rodney Anderson shows up and runs for almost 1,000 yards the last 8 games. And if not more than 1,000 yards, actually, the last 8 games. But he was awesome. And you kind of hope that's what happens here with Jaden Knott, is that this game is where he kind of takes off. And then from here, because you're not going to have it against Auburn's defense. Like, that's not going to be your breakout game. I'm sorry. Have you seen what they've done to people? They're pretty good on defense, Parker.
Jaden Knott, when healthy, we've seen it. One of the more explosive, one of the more exciting running backs in college football. 5 carries for 6 yards thus far this year at Oklahoma. And Torrey Blaylock has been a nice little revelation in the early stages, but it still feels as though Oklahoma is searching for the answer at running back through 2 games. They have a bunch of guys that can contribute. I don't know that one of them has emerged as the answer. And that's surprising given how much hype there was surrounding Jaden Knott's addition. Well, folks, as we continue to track everything that happens leading into the Temple game this Saturday, one storyline we'll be watching closely is injuries. Now, Oklahoma is expected to get several dudes back Auburn week. Eli Bowen and Kendall Dolby among them. Giovanni Gibson may very well be active for that Auburn game as well. But, Brandon, could you see the Sooners going the cautious route with some of the guys that are banged up right now? Perhaps not injured, but hurting with one ailment or another after these first couple games?
Yeah, you have to first start with Gentry Williams and his groin issue. He could have played on Saturday. They held him out. They were up 14 when he got out of the tent, I believe it was 14. It was 2 touchdowns, 2 scores. And at that point, from my understanding, the training staff was like, look, we're going to just keep you out. We're not going to let you go back in there and tweak it more because things feel like they're moving in a positive direction. The defense is holding up. They're in. Now, I do think if they go down and Michigan goes down and scores and makes it a 1-score game, like a true 1-score game to where it didn't feel like it was, it always felt like it was more than what the score was against Michigan. Like it never felt like OU at any point in time was in trouble in that game. I don't think, well, I do think they would have thrown him back in there, Parker, and probably said, go play. But they didn't need to. Devon Jordan, Day went out there and he played well, obviously, and then they rotated other guys throughout. But yeah, Gentry Williams, the guy that you're going to watch, is he going to play? How much is he going to practice this week? I don't know. And I think that's going to determine how much he actually plays. I will not be shocked, as I told you yesterday, that if he plays at all this weekend, but I won't be shocked if they hold him out either.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the way it feels. Fasusi said that he's okay. He just got rolled up on. I don't know. Like, do you throw him back out there or do you let Backlinko play for him? To me, you probably let at least him play until you get up by about 3 scores and you go, you know what, Luke Backlinko, go back out there. We're not going to risk Michael Fasusi for the rest of the season. Let's throw the backup out there, right? Like that's probably how you're going to play that position. But he still needs more reps, obviously.
No doubt.
This is a good rep game.
He played really, really well against Michigan.
He played
really
good, yes.
well, but still young, still green, still a true freshman. Still got to keep him in a rhythm. I would just say I wouldn't be terribly surprised, and you shouldn't be terribly surprised if you see Oklahoma hold a few guys out this weekend. And if they do hold a few guys out this weekend, if there are a few guys that don't play and it's maybe a little bit surprising to you, rest assured that's more of a precautionary measure than anything else, not anything that should cause lingering concern as to a given player's availability. But naturally, when you got Auburn looming on the other side at home, a game you got to win for so many reasons, not the least of which is the fact that your former starting quarterback is now Auburn's starting quarterback. You want to have all hands on deck for that football game. So I would imagine Oklahoma takes a cautious approach this weekend as they go up to Philly.
Just kind of really throw what you're saying. Sooner fans, they're really, really healthy compared to at any point they were last year. And probably at any point I can remember OU being since BV showed up. Like if you actually were looking at the roster, this is probably the most healthy Parker, would you agree with that? It's probably the most healthy you can remember this roster being across the board in years.
It's certainly much healthier than it was at any point last year.
I'm knocking on wood. So
we shall see, folks, and we shall continue to track and cover all of the notable developments leading into the Sooners' first road test of the 2025 season at Lincoln Financial Field this weekend. We will see you up in Philly this Saturday. Subscribe to OU Insider if you haven't already. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. That doesn't cost you a dime. Just a real easy way to keep up with all of the video content that we're churning out here on YouTube. And again, we will touch base with you from the city of brotherly love this coming weekend. Take it easy, everybody.